Show. I'm Jeff. That is Tom. If you are watching on Warchant TV, thanks for that. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. If you are driving about town, listening on 93.3 FM Real Talk Radio, then we appreciate you as well. But also because you are supporting the only locally owned and operated radio station in all of Tallahassee. It's cool. Thank you for doing just that. I like today's wagers. I found a couple on the way in, Tom, that, I just didn't include. Maybe we'll update as the show goes on if that's not too much of a pain in the ass for you with the graphic to add, maybe.
I could add it to the ticker, or I can create a second graphic.
Maybe a second graphic at some point, like a commercial break. I don't know, obviously. What occurred to me that I didn't have on there right off the bat? What was I thinking? You got to hammer the Rams to kill the Bucks. That's an easy one. My mom doesn't want to hear that, but that's the way it's going to go.
The Rona or something. Well, something's going around that locker room.
Well, they got the flu bug going through the locker room, plus they're not very good on defense. Think about the combination of things here. Matthew Stafford is playing the best of any quarterback in the National Football League this year. He's just killing people. He's having another resurgence in his career. He has games where it looks like he's going to throw for 5-6 touchdowns in a game. And that Rams team, by the way, I'm maybe going to float a little pizza money on to win the Super Bowl. But point would be we don't have a pass rush. Now imagine Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford with all the time in the world. That might be a 3-touchdown ass beating. I wonder if I can take the Rams. I know it's 6.5, and I'll bump that thing up to like 13.5. What do I get?
The old bumpy bump.
A little bumpity bump. Play with the numbers a little bit on a Redemption Thursday. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. That's one I would add to it. I may add a couple more. Travis, thanks for listening in London. I enjoyed both my trips to London back in the day. It's been a minute, though. My son was there this past summer, however, so I got to get back.
It was all right. Just all right. I was in the southern part of England. I was down on the coast in Brighton and Hove. I enjoyed that far more than I did London. London's a nice place for a day trip. Yeah, that's right. Young Hove.
Yes.
I enjoyed Brighton very much. London's got some cool stuff.
Well, I love history, and I love war history, and I love all that stuff. So, yeah.
There are some cities you go to and you leave and you go, I need to go back. London, I felt, no, I've accomplished what I came here to do. Whereas Dublin, I could go back 10 more times.
Oh, there are places I like a lot more than London. I'm not saying that. I just enjoyed my time in London. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
It's the Churchill War Rooms. That is the thing. Mm-hmm. That is unreal.
Tower of London was fun. Crown Jewels, all that stuff. Good time.
Did the Eye. Went to that new building, that newish one where you go 150 stories in the air. That was cool.
I don't think that was there when I was there. It's been a minute. I got to get back over.
London Bridge looked like a miniature set, like a Lego set from up there.
Travis is there listening to us. He's listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on a Redemption Thursday from London. You're loving it.
He said the food is bad there. Yeah, British food isn't good, but you can go to an Italian restaurant and real Italians run it. Like that's what I did over there.
Indian food is where I go.
In
London. That's where I'm looking at. I will say, as we put up these wagers for the day, that I'm in a good mood. The game is tomorrow. We will have a Libations Friday edition of the show. In addition, the third hour will serve as the pregame show. I will join Tom and Gene for some of the first quarter there of Florida State, NC State as the watch-along gets underway.
Known as Kickoff with Cameron.
What a promotion. And I'll kick that thing off with the sound of a
That's right.
Let's go. Let's watch.
If it's Weinberg kicking off, you're just say, all right, guys, now if he kicks a touchback here, I'll see you on Monday.
So I'm excited to watch it. There's a lot at play, apparently. Maybe the most important game Mike Norvell has ever coached in the way that it's been positioned by the university, the athletic department, and the talking points centering around it. I guess. I could think of some others, but apparently it's this one.
This is the data point of all data points, buddy. we're going to use a Sharpie marker instead of a pencil on this one. It's a big point.
This is the one. Well, if it didn't involve Florida State losing games, there's a part of me that would think it was funny if they desperately don't want to fire him and have to have some means by which to justify that stance, and then they go and lose for the umpteenth time on the road again. Obviously, they're trying to get their first win on the road since 2023. Jesus, it's nearly 2026. Anyhow, so they're going to try to win that game, and they get beat, say, 46-7, and then lose to Florida, who's god awful. Then how would you do it? How would you do it? What would be the talking points you disseminate then?
It could be that the chairman of the board releases a headshot from his website, but it's in black and white, and it says, "We're running it back. Respect our decision." And like a pose like this is like.
I'm not rooting for that. I'm not saying that's going to happen at all. NC State hasn't looked good. I'll tell you that. They haven't looked good on defense, that's for sure. This could be a shootout. Could be the shootout. And I would expect that their quarterback bounces back, Bailey, and I would expect that we would put up some points as well, given what I've seen from NC State. So, all right, that's the hope. I do think, by the way, that this is a imminently winnable game. If we're just talking about it in a vacuum, this is an imminently winnable game. My goodness gracious.
Also, this team, other than being consistent on the road, I get that.
You mean losing on the road, all of them?
Has a habit of zigging when you expect a zag. History, weeknight games, NC State, the opponent. We're all expecting a loss if you're just a student of history of Florida State football. But this team does the unexpected. That's why I feel like tomorrow might be one of those wins on the road where you go, well, where the hell was that? We could be competing for a trip to Charlotte if you play like that on the road a couple more times, or at home against Pitt. I feel like that's what's coming tomorrow because they just traffic in the unexpected.
Well, we're favored. I don't know that it would be too terribly shocking.
That's Vegas versus fans.
Yeah.
Yes. Big difference. And Vegas has been wrong plenty on this team this year, too.
Oh, yeah.
See Stanford, 18.5.
Well, I mean.
18.5. We scored 13.
I don't think they were wrong. We're just clowns. You don't show up on the road and play a game that
we didn't
capable of.
We didn't team total over.
No. I'll just say that. Let's get to the wagers. Let's get to. Here we go. Now, again, I think I'm going to add to these, but we're going USC, Oregon under 59.5. Make it happen. You want to wager some Fruity Pebbles on that? You got some Fruity Pebbles? Some Count Chocula? Used to all be cereal back in the day when I started the tradition gambling for charity, because we're not allowed to exchange actual monies here on the air. And I would say that, yeah, man, let's do some Fruity Pebbles, some Golden Grams. Who doesn't like a good bowl of Golden Grams?
My nephew Parker was in town for a week this summer, and I still have a bunch of Crunch Berries left. I'm not a big Crunch Berry guy. Old school Captain Crunch, original, good. But we got the Crunch Berries in the pantry. Would that be one that you would consume?
I love Crunch Berries.
Oh, you do?
Bring them on in. I'll eat the Crunch Berries.
Box has been open for a few months.
Oh, well, then get rid of it.
Cereal keeps, right? I don't know.
Well, it depends on how well it's sealed. Do you curl up the cellophane inside?
I'll take a look.
Got to take a look.
It was done by a 17-year-old. I'm not sure I can promise anything.
Shaky. My kids, it makes me want to throttle them. I walk in, the Raisin Bran's been open for days. Open air, just seeping on in. I'm like, it's not that hard. I like peanut butter Captain Crunch. I like Crunch Berries. I like Captain Crunch. I like all the crunches.
I told you, it's not a child, it's an animal, but I just lost all my potato rolls.
Yeah. Well, now you
They're
know.
all stale.
Moose loves him some potato rolls.
He got through the packaging. It's all stale. Like, thanks for that, man. I had 7 left. There were 8 in here.
I don't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a kid thing.
Yeah. Cinnamon Toast, no go. Golden Grams. Most of the Cocos are good. Cocoa Krispies, not as much
No,
as
but Cocoa Pebbles.
Pebbles.
Cocoa Pebbles are the
That's
truth.
the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
That's the Ohio State of cereals.
It's very good.
It's had a good 30-year run.
You know why? The leftover, the milk.
It's the one time I will enjoy.
Yeah, quality.
Yeah.
Quality. Kayvon, I don't really. Just cereals. Just cereals. I don't know what it is. I don't eat a lot of candy. I'm not a juice guy. You know. I like a grapefruit juice.
Kayvon took me to be a grape nuts guy.
he's making fun of you.
I had no idea that that's a cereal. Is there such a thing?
Yeah, grape nuts. Yeah. Hard as a rock. They're tiny little pebble looking things.
Like what the British eat?
No. But if you're uber healthy back in the day, that's what it was.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
But you can still. Yeah, I pass it all the time, and I always think, who's buying the grape nuts? Who's buying these grape nuts? You put them in yogurt too, by the way. Put them in yogurt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't eat yogurt, so there you go.
No.
There's that.
Right over my head.
All right, to the wagers we go. Here we go. First bet, I already told you, it's Southern Cal and Oregon under 59.5. I look for both teams to want to run the ball, be physical, and that will run the clock, and we'll shorten this game, and we'll go under. The 59.5 is what we'll do. Washington State has been putrid all year long. That won't change. James Madison's good. They're still trying to turn heads. Still lay the 13.5 and beat that ass. Minnesota and Northwestern, we're going under 40. Neither team is any good at all. Iowa minus 16.5 against Michigan State. Michigan State's not good. Iowa actually has an offense this year. Give me Iowa and lay the 16.5. Same game parlay for tonight. Cue it up. Here's the siren.
Yeah, fluffy Bisquick pancakes.
I try to give somebody a little something on Thursday nights for the NFL. This is what we do together on the Jeff Cameron Show. All of us gather in and we say, what's that same game parlay, Cameron? Now, we did not come close to the same game parlay the last time. Was that the 10-7, 10 to whatever? It was like 3-0 in the third quarter nonsense. It was awful.
It's kind of like how close we came this year to an undefeated road record.
Very similar.
Very similar.
So we didn't get close. And I expect better results this time around. I reached out to Dawson and Dalton, sent a text to James Cook. I told him to get into Josh Allen's ear. Hit me out here in the flats. I'm wide open. I'm magic in the flats. And let's see if he can, I think Josh knows that, judging by our last game, but James is magic in the flats.
There's a joke in there about, wings. If you throw it to the flats, I grow me some wings. And then they play the drums.
So I put that into your phone. Here you go. It's Dawson Knox 2+ alternative receptions. Dalton Schultz 4+ alternative receptions. James Cook 2+ alternative receptions at a
Bisquick pancakes.
At a plus 198er. That's what we're doing there. At a little plus 198. And then a straight bet, a rare straight bet. Rousseau, Greg to record a sack at plus 134. I'm in on that.
Fluffy Bisquick pancakes.
You really like the Rousseau bet, I could tell.
I do.
You were in on that.
We needed to find a new home for the pancakes because, NIL exists now and RevShare exists, and that's what the pancakes was about. So I like that maybe the prop bets can be the home for fluffy Bisquick pancakes as you're serving them up because there's stacks of bets, especially for same game parlays.
Yeah, no, I like it. And later in the show, we'll add the Rams to deliver the beatdown of my and your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't think it's going to go well. This will be the cherry on top of a 3-game losing streak. This will be what that is. It will be 6-5. And I tell you this now, that the fine folk covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Roy Cummings of the world, if you will, will say a bunch of dumb things after this loss. It will be, now I'm not talking about some of the better sites that cover. I'm talking about the TV side of things a lot of times, and maybe one particular Tampa Times writer. But they will say something absurd. They will take it as a referendum on the season to come and what's left of it. They will say We had it wrong all along about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I will laugh at them because this was very predictable. You get out to 6-2, you've got a gazillion injuries, and then guess what? You play in succession 3 teams that are better than you, and you play those 3 teams that are better than you while banged up. And lo and behold, you lose all 3 games. And now you're 6-5, and you'll hear everybody jump off and say, oh, it's over. They're not going to make the playoffs. Oh, but I tell you, they will, and they'll win the division yet again because the schedule gets decisively easier from this point forward. Here, the Bucs were never a Super Bowl contender going into the year. We just wanted to win the division for the umpteenth year in a row and make the playoffs again and continue to progress forward. And that they will do. But it won't be pretty when they lose to the Rams this Sunday.
And they still could be a fledgling Super Bowl contender if within the 60-minute game they're healthy and a couple things go their way.
They got to get healthy. I mean, they're so far removed from any kind of reasonable health. You can't win it without all of your best players.
This is why we had pep in our step, extreme pep in the step when Florida State on the road. No. When the Bucs went on the road and beat Seattle.
Yeah. By the way, that's a really good Seattle team.
It had, and we were banged up in that game because we've been every single game this year. But that was a game with massive implications.
Yeah, that was a special moment for Baker, by the way, because that's a good Seattle defense.
You had to go get that game.
Yeah.
And then you obviously fortify that with the San Francisco win. These are 2 conference wins for tiebreakers. Should you need them, if you win the division, you won't. But the implications of that, when looking at this 3-game stretch on the schedule, was thank God you gave yourself the breathing room you need in case you go 0-3. On that little run, which is what we're staring at.
Right out the gates, Tony, you gave me an idea to talk about something. I will when we come back on the other side of the break. That's a professional tease. Don't try it at the house. He writes, Jeff, man, you were so down on Coach Speak yesterday thinking about how physical Kirby's teams are. I could see it. You saw it on my face, Tom. You saw it on my face. That allows me to have a discussion, a talking point. We'll gather around together and have that discussion. And I'll also take that, given that it's about Georgia and Kirby, and tie it to North Carolina. Look out. The Tar Heels are coming on strong. I'll explain. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Big news. Café de Martín has been named one of...
Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com.
The 2025 hurricane season is here. Are your gutters and drains up for the challenge? If not, now's the time to call New Vision Gutters. Your trusted local team that keeps water out, no matter what the skies throw at you. Full service from top to bottom for gutter repairs, gutter installs, leaf and debris guards, drainage fixes. We handle it all. Don't wait for the next big storm to find out you've got a problem. Call locally owned New Vision Gutters today. We keep our minds in the gutters, so you don't have to. Online at newvisiongutters.com.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites.
A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
A holiday meal is more than food. It's family gathered close, the joy of laughter, and the comfort of knowing you belong. But for too many of our neighbors, that tradition feels out of reach. ABC 27 Gives Back needs your help feeding our neighbors. The annual turkey drive benefiting Second Harvest kicks off November 17th with frozen turkey drop-offs November 20th. Your generosity ensures families across the Big Bend can share a Thanksgiving meal together. Go to WTXL.tv to help families in need.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Woke up today just yearning for some sort of probably a shrimp taco type dish.
Oh, okay.
I'm feeling, I woke up dreaming of shrimp tacos.
Well, you could go to our people that we don't name because they don't advertise, but we love their tacos. That is over on the other side of town.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
If you're really jonesing for you got to do it right if you're jonesing for a taco.
Their tacos are exceptional.
They are really good.
I haven't been in a long time. I think the last time I was with you.
Yeah.
Was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Yeah, I checked in last year when we still had practice access because it's on the way from the fields to the station here. So I stopped in for lunch one day, and it was still immaculate quality.
Okay, so I teased this a moment ago. Tony brought up the fact that he thought I looked down in the dump. Right at the beginning of the show, I saw it in the chat as I was pulling up the StreamYard to get on the air here, and he said, Jeff, man, you were so down on Coach Speak thinking about how physical Kirby's teams are. I could just see it. So yesterday we did Coach Speak, and it's out now. You can find it wherever it is you find Coach Speak on YouTube there. Just type it in. And Kirby is featured in this week's Coach Speak, and not for anything bad. He, in essence, sent a message to Sark and Texas that they were bitches. And it kind of made me laugh. He said it without saying it. He was talking about how he had told his team this was the kind of game where they're built for this game against Texas. They were built for that beating they put on Texas because he believes that, look, some kids just want to check. Some kids just want to get paid. Well, you'll get paid at Georgia, but only if you're willing to get down in the muck and be physical, because we're physical. And we don't talk about being physical. It's the way we practice. We do it all the time. I mean, he's just sending messages, right?
We will recklessly drive down the field on offense.
No, I'll get to that. But he talked about that the way they practice, how they practice, and the mentality you have to play at Georgia. That when they're recruiting, they want guys who like to get after it from a physical standpoint. They want to hit. They got to be willing to accept that that's the way they do business at Georgia. You'll get paid now, but you got to be willing to get down in the muck. And I have said before that this is the biggest thing with Mike, that he has not recruited the line of scrimmage, the offensive and defensive lines, to the degree that he has to in order to make this program be elite. He stumbled into some elite players through the portal a couple of times that changed who we were. Those generational talents like Jared Verse aren't typically hanging out in the portal. You got him. It's a good job to get him. He turned into this whole other thing, as in the rookie of the year in the National Football League. He became transcendently good. The same thing with Braden Fisk, who was right there on the list of rookie of the year nominees.
Top 3 in terms of futures, day of.
Jermaine Johnson, who you brought in from where? Georgia. Couldn't hardly get on the field at Georgia. That's how good Georgia's defensive line is. They were like, well, you're good, but, you're a role player here. Walked in, immediately became a god at Florida State. We have not consistently. There's a guy here or there. You can name a Farmer. You can name Darrell, who was a transfer, by the way. But anyhow, you can name some of these guys. From the high school ranks, we have not done a good job of finding, identifying, developing offensive and defensive line talent at all. At all. It's been terrible. And there's a mentality that goes with loving to recruit, demanding that your assistant coaches recruit at a high level, but seeking out just nasty sumbitches in the trenches. It starts there, Tom. You got to do it. You've got to do it. And listening to Kirby talk, that's the real deal. That's how they play. Now, sometimes they're better than others, but they win, and they win a lot because at the end of the day, they are going to make plays along the line of scrimmage. Right now, they're having trouble getting after the passer. But they're never going to go on the road and not be able to run the ball. They're never going to go on the road and not give themselves a chance to win a game because the line of scrimmage is going to hold up. They could lose. They're not impervious to defeat. They don't lose to bums, first of all, very often, if ever. And when they do lose, it's usually close to somebody like, say, Alabama. But you have at your core a nastiness to you, a belief in the way you have to recruit the lines of scrimmage, and then you do it at practice. You have Bloody Tuesday. You do get after it, and it creates a mindset for the bigger moments of the year when you're facing a team who has like athletes. And, you just don't see that here, and it drives me nuts. And that's why, Tony, I was sad, because listening to him talk about who they are, what they want to be, what the demand of players, what they're always striving for, reminds me of the things that are lacking here.
I would agree for the entirety of his career. It's been something that you don't have depth with, but you do have some moments beyond the portal, and I think you have to point to this year, the right here, the right now. The Desirs are the beacon of hope.
First time, Tom.
I know.
But I'm saying he's his sixth year. This is the first guy you got out of high school that you're like, yeah.
And I think also the offensive line I would declare to be far better, but, they're here for 10 minutes. They're gone. They're already out the door if you're trying to project what you can do moving forward to next year. Because even Rizzi is out of eligibility after this year, and he's one of your top reserves. I think they did the job in some ways for the 2025 season to be a launching point, but they didn't win the games. And that's the difference maker here. Like, if you're looking for signs that they were improving, signs of health, in some ways they delivered on exactly what we were looking for. But you got to cash in with enough wins to qualify for another year in the sun. And that Stanford loss is the thing that sticks out. So I wish, in theory, you could have gotten rewarded for the work they've done and the transformation they had in the offseason in terms of making the team better, but they didn't cash it in. And so now here we sit, and we're looking at things like you're talking about, which is other press conferences, other teams, showing that, hey, man, they've got waves and waves of guys who play a certain way. The other part of the discussion there, too, is that they win begets the confidence to continue to play like that, and it doesn't get beaten out of you in the course of a season.
Yeah.
Because winning and losing matters with how hard you're going to play. Florida's a very physical team, but right now you don't know week to week if they're going to decide to be physical. Kentucky, they didn't. Ole Miss, they did. Are they going to at Tennessee? I don't know. I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole in terms of wagers. Next week against Florida State will be the same question. Will they care to be there? Probably so, because it's at home, but it's hard to say. Winning and losing now in college football puts this through an accelerator about what you can expect in the form of physicality, consistency week to week.
Yeah. Oh, look, Georgia had it rolling before the modern era of what we have now in NIL and all that started. Georgia had it rolling. And so did Ohio State. And in some ways, they have that advantage because you had a ready-made, and to their credit, they had done a great job of year-over-year recruiting excellence and having depth and then winning games. And so they kind of seamlessly transitioned into the NIL era as an elite program and then had to find a way to navigate to remain elite. And in some ways, neither is as elite as they were prior to this era because stockpiling depth is difficult to do when kids can transfer whenever they want, and they get obviously disillusioned if they're second or third string at a place that has a bunch of elite players in front of them, and so they are free to leave. So it's those dominant teams, as we've talked about before, aren't as dominant as they once were, but they're still the best of the best currently, and they're all invested. They are all invested big time in the process of remaining that way.
Yeah, better players, Georgia and Texas both have them, but I think if you flip the records, it might look the other way on the field. I guess that's part of the point that I'm making here is because Georgia was able to escape Tennessee and because they were able to escape Auburn and because they're in the position that they are with the ranking that they have. I know Texas season was teetering, but we all know that it doesn't look the way that the players all expected it to look before the season started.
Yeah.
And the offensive struggles wear on a defense too over the course of a year. But if Texas had that record that Georgia did and Georgia had 2 or 3 losses to their credit, I wonder if Georgia would week in and week out be as committed and send as much of a physical message. They've kind of grown into that because they've escaped a couple of 50-50 finishes.
Yeah.
So I think there's some table setting that goes on to be able to be this way in November. Florida State, I mean, you just don't have the waves of it. You got a couple players who can do it. The linebacking level is the one that sticks out more to me than the defensive line. I think with the way Darrell has played and eaten up offensive linemen, the Desirs, you've seen patches of play here and there from other guys. It's the linebacker level that continues to be passive more than downhill and aggressive.
Yeah, well, that's not a group of elite players. It's a group of decent to average players. Again, recruiting matters. Would it say it would help to have an elite pass rusher too? We don't. So that'll hurt. And I worry about that in this upcoming game tomorrow. Look, you think about how you fight your way out of this. There's a lot of debate every day amongst us Florida State faithful about where we should go and what we should do and who should be in charge of that and how should it look. And, I get that there's room for disagreement there. I obviously have made my point that I think they should move on from Norvell. You have too. There are plenty of people who agree with us, plenty of people who don't agree with us. There are people who get their feelings hurt because their sensibilities are that of a fragile child when you point out that the team is not as good as they should be. And that's fine too. Then there are others who understand exactly what you're doing. You're criticizing because you care deeply that they stop sucking. And so this is the kind of thing that is fun to have a discussion about on Sports Talk Radio, but it begins with the trenches and your ability to recruit it. And from there, you can create toughness. From there, if you push it in practice and do the kinds of things that require physicality more than just on Saturdays, and it's a balancing act. I'm not saying we need to go back to the Junction Boys and play football like it's 1947, where they had no information about the wear and tear and the need to hydrate and all the rest of it. But you can't do that if you're not really strong up front in the trenches with the way that, A, you recruit it and you coach it.
Yeah, 2 competing things that I think are true. Number one, the offensive line is not even close to the top of the list of problems this year. I think they've done a pretty good job of shoring that up from 2024 to 2025. At the same time, the number one disappointment I have this year about the offense is not even Tommy. It's that when we go tempo, we call a run, it's up the middle, and it hardly succeeds. And that doesn't allow you to continue to play tempo for the balance of a drive. It's why in conference play, we are 10th in scoring in the country. In ACC games only, we're 10 out of 17 teams. That's where we are. So if you just look at ACC competition only, our offense, total output, is 10th out of 17 teams.
We've talked about the fool's gold of the offensive numbers.
But if you just want to do the top line thing, here's an example. Yeah. We are right in the middle. Actually, we're below average in the ACC in terms of conference games, total point output, and that is with garbage time points against Miami included. That is with a touchdown against Pitt that was meaningless to Danzy because it came down to an onside kick again. So we haven't really been consistently productive in the conference games. It's not like we've been scoring 40 a week and still finding a way to lose because Tony sucks. Offense has been below average. In fact, the defense is 9th in points allowed. So it's been better in ACC-only games than the offense has. But the number one thing that disappoints me, while there are a lot of things that have improved, is that when they want to go tempo, which is what Gus is about, and it's 1st and 10, and they get up to the line, and the TV broadcast is late showing the play, I already know what's going to happen. You're going to see a pile around the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be either 2nd and 11, 2nd and 10, or 2nd and 9. It's going to be one of those 3 things. That has been the most frustrating, and that's where toughness, again, comes into play. You can only do so much in the portal. Have they made the O-line better? Hell yeah, they have. The trenches have gotten a lot better on the offensive side, but Gus is still not allowed to establish the jab that he wants to establish, which is we go fast, we gain 3 or 4 yards on first down, and we continue to go fast.
Right. Well, you knew going into the season, we talked about how that tempo affects the numbers, the rushing numbers, because of what you were talking about. We normally, with Gus's offenses, it's almost annoying, right? In that if you're playing against it, if he's got it rolling, they wear you out, and it is a 3 yards in a cloud of dust or on early downs, and
right.
then we're off.
Then they run you out of the building.
And then eventually you get worn down. You're right. That hasn't been as effective. I don't know that there's been a ton of imagination off of that, though, either. It's been strange because early in the year, I thought he did show more imagination. Now, look, it's a hodgepodge. There are nights, you've pointed it out, where there are plenty of things schemed open, and Tommy misses it. You know, he just misses open guys. That's maddening. That's disheartening. It's difficult. I think it's got to be infinitely frustrating to be a receiver as open as we've seen 2 or 3 games this year. We've had 2 or 3 guys not named Deuce wide open several times, and he doesn't hit them, and that's gotta be tough.
In fairness, that happened to Mike before the wheels came off last season too. Quite a few open things. We're like, oh man, he schemed that wide the hell open. Now it's unforgivable that you have a small receiver like Jaylen Brown blocking for Hakeem Williams. That stuff will always just make your head scratch. But there are some similarities there. I mean, I could point to Dublin as the most obvious example when you have the true freshman who's wide open for a touchdown on the 3rd drive of the game, and he drops it. But there were a lot of drops last year in schemed elements that were wide open. But this year with Gus, there are more moments where you go, oh man, he waited for that, he set that up, scouted that.
That's the beautiful play against Alabama.
Yeah.
A little wheel.
Yes, the wheel. That was Jalen Lucas second half. Well, shoot, even the defensive hold that we got on the first 3rd down was because of the looky-loo on the snap, and Deuce is blowing by that corner who grabs him, and that's what gets you your defensive hold.
But have you seen much of that as the year has worn on? I feel like because they've struggled in some fundamental ways that he's gone away from some of that. Look, it's nitpicky at this point. They are who they are. There are a lot of elements of this team that aren't complete. It is frustrating to watch. That's why they sit there at 5-5.
I think part of it is Tommy's injury. If you think about, they go tempo, they score a touchdown off the squirrel catch. That was the other 3rd down on that first drive of the season. What's the next play? Tommy, it's a read option, but Tommy runs around to the right side and scores. I think not having his legs, it's almost like Gus doesn't know what to do, which is crazy because in other parts of the game, when they're not trying to run tempo, he absolutely sets things up. You're like, oh, okay, I see what you were trying to do there.
He'll have opportunities, both on the ground and via the air against NC State. They like to give up a lot of yardage either way. In particular in the passing game, it's not our modus operandi, but there have been ways to beat this team both on the ground and through the air. We'll see if they get it done tomorrow night. Shannon Young has made the move, of course. I've told you about that a lot, to the nation's largest mortgage company. He's with Cross Country Mortgage, but most importantly, I tell you about Shannon because he gets the job done. He has an unwavering commitment for you, and he helps his fellow Noles along with every other individual that gives them a call and is in need of a loan, searching for that opportunity to buy a dream home, something along those lines. Maybe get out from under yours and get into a new. He's got you covered there too. Shannon's got 20-plus years of experience. He's now in 7 states: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. He's honest. He's hardworking. He's smart. He's a good friend. Loansfornoles.com. That's loansfornoles.com.
Your local news now.
Leon County Schools considered an agreement with Capital. families in school events. The agreement was unanimously approved Tuesday night. This is Rachel Lene with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 84 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, south winds around 5 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies develop with fog at times. Tonight, lows level off around 56. A mix of clouds and sun with fog at times early tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 81. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 81.
God gave us two ends, one to think with and one to sit on. Success in life depends on which one you use. Heads, you win. Tails, you lose. Hi, I'm Rick Hughes, host of The Flatline. Heard every Sunday morning here at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 Tallahassee Real Talk Station. Come join me 30 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and some education as I seek to reveal God's plan by teaching 10 unique problem-solving devices. Every Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m., 93.3 Real Talk Tallahassee.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct, yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
And you still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Do need to follow up on the other part of the previous tease before the segment in which I told you that I would answer why I was forlorn as Tony saw me in coach speak, because I was admiring the way that Kirby gets Georgia to play and the way that they recruit. And while there are some renegade aspects of Georgia's program, namely the whole, going 150 miles per hour at all times from his players, seemingly, and not being able to curb that behavior. The stuff on the field and the things that they do from a practice standpoint is something that I do very much admire. And I think Bill Belichick does too. Take a look-see, everybody, at what's going on in Chapel Hill. Headline reads, Belichick says team has addressed driving, other off-field issues, and behavior. Now, originally this story was UNC football players piling up speeding and reckless driving charges. An investigation reveals that North Carolina players are receiving speeding and reckless driving citations at an alarming rate. 3 of Coach Bill Belichick's prized recruits are among the worst offenders, according to WRAL News. It's a risk to the community, as they've described it there in Chapel Hill. A significant portion of the North Carolina football roster has received speeding and reckless driving charges over the last year. The thing is, Bill, you got to win. You can run over people at twice the legal speed limit. And, you'll get a tisk. You can even have a staffer die in the midst of such reckless behavior. But if you win enough, that story goes away too. The problem for you, Bill, is that you reside over a program that loses a lot, and they'd like you to leave. Or many have voiced as much. And now you have, news agencies in the North Carolina Triangle area going, what can we get on Bill and this bimbo of his? The detailed analysis of court records shows that nearly 20% of North Carolina's 101-player roster has been cited for speeding since October. That is sizable. 31 speeding charges, 10 reckless driving accounts, with a significant portion attributed to athletes recruited by Bill Belichick. Bill's looking over at Kirby going, I see you, Curbs. I'll go get me some reckless speeders, and we're going to win some damn games.
I think it's just the cops sitting outside of the practice parking lots because they know the players want to go the hell home after having to deal with him all day. I'm out of here. We suck anyway. They peel out. Whoop, whoop. There it is.
Originally, the report from WRAL said, we will be asking Belichick about this investigation on Wednesday at his weekly football media conference. They did, by the way. They also knew that well, but they're asking for as much to happen there in Chapel Hill. The follow-up was that Belichick said, we've addressed it. Our conduct outside of the building, outside of the program, is important to us, and we do stress that. We addressed multiple things, not just reckless driving. There are other things that go on besides driving that we've talked about, absolutely. And he went on to say that he's had one-on-one meetings with players as well as team meetings in which law enforcement officers were brought in. Multiple other people have talked about it as well to the team that aren't members of the team. So we've addressed it. Off with you. He didn't add that last part.
My favorite Belichick headline of the week is that he went to his girlfriend's cheerleading
co-ed
competition.
cheerleading competition, and you know he loved that. The picture said it all.
Babe, you're going to be there, right?
Yes.
I'd rather be on to Cincinnati, but I'll go.
I always think when you see these old guys that have a lot of money, and you suspect, because maybe you're just cynical, that the young woman that's with him isn't with him because she finds him attractive and loves him for who he is, but rather because of said riches. I always think that if you're that guy engaging in that behavior, like if you're smart enough to have accrued that through business success or acumen, you're probably smart enough to know that the 23-year-old is not with your 70-plus-year-old ass because she thinks you're hot, that it might be the money. Then once you dive into that pool and you go into the deep end and you say, I'm going to do it because I'm shallow, I'm surface level, and I like a fine piece of ass, so that's what I'm going to do. Well, then you don't settle for her, my man.
Well, and if you do, you tell her no on the cheer competitions. I'm going to take a couple of Advil, have a Keystone Light, and watch some film. That's what I'm going to do.
Don't you do what the 90-plus-year-old guy did when he was being used by Anna Nicole Smith.
That's right.
If you're gonna say, all right, I see what's going on here. I'm choosing Anna Nicole Smith, my man. That's a better opt-in.
I just like how Jordan Hudson is clearly, she needs this. This is her thing that she needs to do.
Lord.
Because running his life and his empire is so stressful that this is my thing. My thing is cheerleading in my 20s.
And I need you to be there, Bill.
You've missed 3 straight competitions.
I would say, what are you driving, hun? $100,000 Lexus? You buy that yourself, did you? I'm going to miss the cheer competition tonight. Good luck. Hopefully Philip performs admirably. Yeah, that's a toughie. Can you imagine? Just brutal. My friends at T-Spark Enterprises probably love being associated with that segment. 850-766-1340. They serve North Florida, South Georgia, Tallahassee, of course, Monticello, Havana, Quincy, Crawfordville, Wakulla, Madison, Thomasville, Bainbridge, Cairo, anywhere around here. Any of the places about town. If you want a guaranteed win, call T-Spark for your next roofing or construction project. They conquer all peaks. You can check it out, tsparkconstruction.com. They are indeed licensed, as you well know. They can help you prevent leaks, commercial tenant build-outs as well, wind damage, shingles and the like, they've got you covered. License number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204. Yeah, I'm not her. I'm going over the top absurd.
Yeah, you're Jason Bateman in Arrested Development. Her?
Yeah, you're like, what are we doing here?
I'm bringing Ann over. Who? You remember Ann? Her?
Like because this isn't the first, one of these situations we've come across. Every now and again, because men are pigs, we look at these things. Again, we're visual creatures. So we'll see these and talk about it at the water cooler or on the golf course or something. You're like, hey, you see who Donny Osmond's dating? And then somebody will be like, no. Is he dead, by the way?
Oh, God, Donny Osmond?
He's got to be, right?
You usually know these things. I'm going to guess no.
I haven't kept tabs on Donny Osmond, but I was trying to think of an old
He's
person.
only 67.
Okay.
He's a very young and spry 67.
But, somebody will bring it up. You're like, no. They're like, well, that's what led to the divorce. Well, really? And then you see the picture and you're like, well.
But that's why, as a visual creature, the less makeup somebody has on, the more I appreciate. The more I gravitate towards that particular type of woman.
Because you know what you're getting when they get out of the shower or wake up in the morning.
There it is.
That's a nutshell thing.
Yeah,
it's a pretty easy one, buddy. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Go custom with your window coverings with help from Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Budget Blinds brings their showroom to your home with dozens of color and pattern choices. Just tell them what you love and they'll make it happen. From designing custom draperies and Roman shades to color matching your blinds and shutters.
I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds Tallahassee, where you get beautiful style and expert service for any budget. Call 668-4835 for a free consultation online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Facing Brooks. Offices, Tallahassee.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
Hey, it's Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. If you work hard to serve our community, whether you're a teacher, a nurse, firefighter, police officer, or first responder, or even a city or county employee, I've got some great news for you. Florida's Hometown Heroes program can help you buy a home with down payment and closing cost assistance up to $35,000, depending on where you live and work. It's a way to say thank you to the people that keep Florida running, and I'm proud to help local heroes take advantage of it every day. Don't assume you don't qualify. Let's find out together. I'll walk you through the process, show you how to combine these benefits with the right mortgage plan, and help you make that dream of homeownership a reality. Let's get started. You can reach me at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, helping our hometown heroes find their way home.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers are dealing with some sickness. They held just a walkthrough yesterday, and some of the players who are not fully able to participate include quarterback Baker Merrifield, center Graham Barden, wide receiver Emeka Egbuka, offensive guard Dan Feeney, offensive tackle Luke Gedeke, and also defensive end Logan Hall. Buccaneers are getting ready for a big game against the Rams. That's going to be coming up on Sunday. Miami Dolphins football linebacker Jordan Brooks was really good this past weekend with 20 total tackles. He has been named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Dolphins don't play again until November 30th. They have signed quarterback A.J. Green off of the Rams practice squad, and the Jaguars on Sunday on the road against the Arizona Cardinals.
This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with a peppermint mocha. Starbucks signature espresso, velvety mocha, and cool peppermint notes, topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate pearls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21. With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Broker Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Services, comfort just a call away. 222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722. Parker Services, comfort just a call away. Parker Services, comfort just a call away.
Fall is here, and that means it's time to make sure your home is ready for the season ahead. At Parker Services AC and Electrical, a peak performance membership keeps your comfort systems running at their best year-round. Members enjoy priority scheduling, exclusive discounts, and seasonal tune-ups that help identify small problems before they turn into big repairs. Don't wait until your heater has issues. Call Parker Services today and ask about peak performance membership.
Parker Services, comfort just a call away.
License number CMC 050334, EC 1301240.
As we get older, health starts to mean more. It's not just about adding years. It's about making every year feel good. That's why Capital Health Plan created the Center for Healthy Aging, where care is centered around what matters most to you. Through your personalized My Vitality plan, adults 55 and up get one-on-one guidance for strength, nutrition, and lifelong wellness so you can stay active and confident in every stage of life. Call 850-854-8566 to learn more.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the Seventh Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, Seventh Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The Seventh Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
later in the show, third hour for sure. Definitely maybe a glance at him again here. Tom, you got to add the Bucks to that list.
I do. And you know what I'll also do is run it during one of the breaks because I saw we had a listener. He's a Zebra something in the chat. Usually is an radio only listener and was on YouTube today. He said, "Oh, you put the visual up for the picks?"
Oh, so he was happy to see.
He was happy to see
the board.
Yeah. I'll put them up during the break.
Yeah. We don't run from that. We have that up there every week. Sometimes it works out well where we say, "Hey, hit 7 of 10, hit 8 of 10." Other times you're like, "Ooh, not so much. Terrible this week. 3 and 7, whatever it might be." It's the yin and the yang, baby.
Is there anything else other than the Bucks game right
Oh,
now?
I'm sure I'll find 7 or 8 more bets before the whole thing's done.
All right. That's a page 2. That's a page 2er.
I know it is. I know it is. I wanted to make sure we had the same game parlay up. I saw in the chat, I haven't been looking until the break just now. Want to catch up and answer some questions. And April wants to know if you've had a Pop-Tart yet.
I have not.
I was promised amazing development. You were promised by me that I would bring Pop-Tarts to the studio at some point. And I failed. I failed you, and I failed all of those who were waiting with bated breath to hear your response to the deliciousness that is taking a bite of a Pop-Tart.
Right. I think we agreed just the strawberry.
I was going to go standard.
Yeah.
I was going to
with the drizzle.
I was going to ease you into the Pop-Tart world.
Not with the drizzle. Just straight up the Pop-Tart. I am now under 340 days away from being 40 years old. So I got to do this before I turn 40, right?
V-Dubs says, wait a minute. Tom has never had a Pop-Tart. Yeah, this came up one time on the air, I don't know, a long time ago. It's come up more than once in the 16 years, however many years we've been together. Because it is absurd that you haven't had a Pop-Tart, don't understand it, don't know what kind of sheltered childhood you had, don't know what kind of abuse you suffered from.
Lots of cereal and breakfast meat. I never had occasion for a Pop-Tart or fresh fruit well.
You never even looked over at the Pop-Tart aisle and thought, those look good.
I had fresh fruit. I've been eating, strawberries and bananas.
One doesn't mean
melon.
that you exclude the other. I'm just saying that you could incorporate. You can say, I like a banana and a blueberry, and maybe I like those Pop-Tarts. I should try some.
I am not running, nor have I ever run from the Pop-Tart. That is not something that I looked at and said, ew, gross, I'll never try that in my life. It just has never been on the list.
Yeah, they're not good for you. I'll tell you that. They're not good for you, but they are delicious. Like so many things that aren't good for you. They are freaking delicious.
The bagel bites of breakfast, one might say.
My son, who's in the studio in the other room there working with you today, has had many Pop-Tarts. I ushered him into the Pop-Tart eating world at a very young age. Really, there's Pop-Tarts around the house frequently.
He goes with blueberry as the best flavor. I could be convinced. Blueberry sounds delicious.
Well, it is fake blueberry. It is just pure sugar and muck. It's awful. What do you think I was going to say something?
Yes, I did. I thought you had snapped into dad mode, and therefore we were getting pure something else.
Sugar, buddy. There's nothing good for you in a Pop-Tart.
It's like the Germans in Breaking Bad in that lab.
Yeah.
It tastes like blueberry.
It's delicious. Well, it's like hot dogs. There's nothing good in a hot dog, but they're delicious. What are you supposed to do?
That was my favorite food as a kid.
Many a kid's favorite food is a hot dog. I've been vying to get a sense of the game all week long. It is played one day earlier, as we all know. I'd like to get a read on it. I am juxtaposing the confidence I have that they're going to win the game, Tom, with the reality of not having done so on the road in 2 years. And so you weigh that. It's tough.
This feels like do the opposite. I feel very confident about a win this week.
So you think they're going to lose then?
No. Because it's the opposite.
That's the joy of this.
Because it's the opposite. I'm thinking, yep, you know what? This is going to be a dub tomorrow night. It's going to be one that people go, really? You're going to do that, are you? Okay. I think it's going to be a good, resounding performance. I believe that. I think you're inclined to believe something similar. more than a squeaker win or a squeaker loss. I think you believe Florida State's going to play pretty well tomorrow relative to NC State, its opponent.
The only thing that gives me pause is their quarterback is good. And we have injuries in the secondary. We haven't been very good against the pass all year long. And I worry, you throw in the road element. I cannot, it's funny. We like to attribute certain things to help explain the unexplainable. We'll say, well, the reason this happens is because, and then we'll grab something that isn't the causation. We'll just say it because it sounds like something we should say, or it could be plausible, because you can't, when something's inexplicable, it's very frustrating. You don't like that. You'd like to be able to define it. You'd like to be able to say, well, here's what's going on there. But sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes there isn't just one thing. Sometimes it's any number of things. I've heard a lot of people talk about, why Florida State has lost on the road so frequently over these last 2 years. What's that attributable to and all that. And, I do think there's probably a through line. I don't know what it is, though. I can't pinpoint it because it doesn't always look the same, Tom. It's not like we go and watch them on the road and say, boy, they're devoid of confidence completely. I mean, they've had games where they looked very confident. They made mistakes. They did something stupid. They got a little unlucky. They turned it over in the red zone, whatever it might be. Those things are real reasons. It's not nebulous. Like you would say, Tom, in a situation like that, you would say, well, here's what happened against Virginia. Virginia's a pretty good football team with a mobile quarterback. You're on the road at night in a weekday, and you turned it over inside the 5 effing yard line when you had a chance to tie the ball game up, and all of a sudden that's a 14-point swing because they go down and score, and instead of it being 7-7, it's 14-0, and you do rally even in that situation to score 21 points for the moment unanswered. Obviously, they were to be answered, but could you go up 21-14 after being down 14-0 if you lacked confidence? I don't think so. So you can't point to that game and say they didn't believe they could win. They were lacking confidence the way that so many have when they talk about our road woes. Other times, look, there's a handful of games in there where quite honestly, you're just not the better team. Where you go, well, they're better than us. That team is better than we are. Obviously, when you go 2-10, most are.
I would say, just looking back at recent history, what I've been pulling up our recent results, even in 23, we weren't good on the road, save for one game. And no, it's not the Clemson game, because the offense was largely stifled in the Clemson game, and it looked like Mike didn't know where to go, what to do.
He was absolutely flummoxed, yes.
The Pitt game was similar. That was due to somewhat injury issues, the receiver position, but they still played flat.
Yeah.
22 was the last year that we played consistently well on the road. 2022 was. We blew the hell out of Miami.
Yes, we did.
45-3.
Get you some.
We destroyed Syracuse on the road.
Yes, we
that
did.
year. We beat Louisville, even with a quarterback injury, with Tate Rodemaker.
That's right.
On the
Came
road.
in that second half and made big-time throw, took a hit, yeah.
In 2023 on the road, the undefeated season, Boston College, flu game, squeaker. Tommy Castellanos now our quarterback. Clemson, thank you, Kalen DeLoach. Thank you very much, or else that game finishes differently.
Yeah, no,
it's a tough team, so I'm not trying to count that as a negative,
team, yeah.
but that wasn't exactly one of those performances where you say, this team just goes on the road and whoops ass. Not really. Wake Forest is your big win in the last 3 seasons on the road. We played Clawson up there that day. Jordan got whatever he wanted. It was 41-16 was the final. The way the game played out was far different than that. The Pitt game on the road was close. Jordan's hurt for the game against Florida, but that was a squeaker as well. So that's your road slate in 2023. We know we didn't win one last year.
Not nary a game, Tom, on the road last year, and we've yet to win one this year.
And not one this year. So 2022 is really the last time that you've seen this program go on the road and consistently perform.
I'd love to get other people's observations. I mean that. Typically on here, I give you my observations, and obviously I'm fairly confident in what I'm saying. Not always right, but I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. And yet I can't put a handle on it. I don't know. It seems like something maybe you would need to be in the locker room for. I mean, there are some things that we can't know because we're not on the team. You know, I know in every locker room that I've ever been in as a player, I had a much better sense of the team chemistry and how we were made up and what that meant. And I mean any sport. That's at Lakewood High School for football. That's in junior varsity. That's in peewee football. That's in baseball. And you always, the team members know how they interact with each other, and they know kind of collectively what that adds up to. But maybe we can't know because we're not at practice this year. Obviously, we're not allowed to be. And then secondly, we're not in that locker room.
Well, is it something to do with the travel schedule? That would be the only theory that could fit, but I don't know that that's enough. I don't know that that's true. I will tell you, I looked at briefly a theory about a week or two ago of, do we play well night games wise on the road? Because we practice in the mornings, and obviously that was talked about a lot this year with the Stanford game being so late, and that game finishing up essentially when kids are almost ready to wake up on the East Coast to get ready to go to practice at first thing in the morning or go to weight training. But no, I mean, even in 2022, the Miami game on the road where we destroyed them was a night kick. The Syracuse game on the road that we won was 38-3. I just closed the window, whatever it was. It was a blowout win. It was a night kick. So they've done it in Mike's tenure where they've played at night on the road. They've been fine. I don't know what exactly it is. I will just tell you that it extends even into the undefeated season in consistent play on the road. But I do think, despite all of that evidence, that tomorrow, when you expect this team to zig, they're going to zag. And so that would mean that tomorrow night is going to be a good performance.
Well, the other reason that I bring it up, for all of my criticisms of Mike Norvell, I've never said that he lacks a work ethic and a want to. And, I don't think that's true of him at all. I have said all along that one of the sad parts about all of this is that, I think that guy does care deeply and does work hard and is eminently likable. I've said that before. I hate that it's not working because I don't want to have to go through this all over again. That kind of change is not always an easy process. It can set you back. There are many reasons why I wish we weren't having to discuss the team the way that we do or the coach the way that we are. But I don't think that if that were, if you had an aspect of your life, that was seriously lacking and it was affecting your job performance, it was affecting your day-to-day life, your interaction with coworkers, your ability to do the job, in some cases, maybe it starts to affect your ability to keep said job. Well, I think you would turn over every stone. I think you'd go out and talk to every person imaginable about routines and the psychology of a road game as opposed to a home game. You would try to get insights from people who had greater expertise than you about, when things change with your schedule or with your habits or with your process, how you can combat that for the better or whatever it might be. I'm sure he's done it. I'm going to, because he has a good work ethic, I'm going to guess that he's tried to figure that out. The same way that, like, for example, I reference this a lot. For all those years that I did the golf show on SiriusXM with Trey, I used to love all of the sports psychologists that we had on and PhD guys that had come in and talked to Florida State's golf team, talked to Florida State's football team and baseball team. Jimbo used to have a guy. We all remember that. I love talking to those people. Psychology interests me anyhow. So I'm always interested in how the brain works, why we do what we do. My dear friend Kobe is a behaviorist, all that kind of stuff. Well, there was always some sort of insight being lent as to why you do what you do or the choices that you make. And it was stuff a lot of times that were kind of outside your realm of understanding. Like you weren't cognizant of it until somebody is able to point it out. I'm sure he's done that. I'm sure he's had any number of conversations about this at this point because it is seriously affecting his ability to get the job done. I hate to just latch on to something as simple as he's been incredibly unlucky. The sequence of the games, I don't know. It's weird because they haven't always been the lesser team. And it's not solely because he's not doing a very good job of coaching this team right now. There has to be something else.
Well, there's a lot of situational failures across the years. Keith says in the chat, Jeff scoring touchdowns inside the 10-yard line, penalties, turnovers, poor play calling. The last one can be subjective. I mean, I don't think Gus called poor plays at Clemson. I think
he didn't call poor play on the 5 when Tommy fumbled against Virginia. I mean, they marched right down the field. That play is going to work if he doesn't fumble and makes a better decision.
Yeah. Well, the pick. Yeah.
The pick. Yeah, the fumble is.
But there's a decision on a read. Yes.
Yeah, but that's a fundamentally easy decision to make in the moment, and he blew it.
But you think about it, you go back to the 3-game losing streak in 22. You don't trust your kicker, so you go for it on 4th. Your guy drops it.
And I had no problem with that in 2022.
Right, but that's a situational thing that adds up to 1. Then you look at Virginia this year, and you've got a turnover inside the 10-yard line, and that's a stinker. The Stanford aforementioned disaster. You probably got inside the 1-yard line to score a game tire, which you might have gone for 2. That call doesn't go your way, but it doesn't happen, and so therefore it's not a score. Trying to think to other examples on the road recently outside of the drops from Clemson. We already talked about Tommy fumbling, but they've been poor in certain situations. Yeah,
situationally poor.
Sometimes special
would
teams
bring that up
rears
all
its
the time.
head. Sometimes it's all 3 facets have added up over the last 3 years and taken a turn where you say, well, that one's on the defense. Well, that one's on the quarterback. Well, that one's on the offensive line. If they could return a punt, if they could stop giving up 30 or 40 yards of hidden yards by catching a punt, we've taken turns. It's been a total collective failure in the last 2 seasons on the road. Drops against SMU. The Morlock drop was the thing that finally broke our spirits.
It was a set.
It was a bumps and the set, and they spiked it, and then calling DJU back-to-back runs inside the 2-yard line against SMU. Remember that one?
That's a toughie.
Wake Forest on the road. Mackenzie Milton calling a quarterback run on a 4th and 1.5.
With a guy with one leg? Yeah.
Good job, Keith. That's a good point. Brings up a lot of great memories.
Yeah, it's just it's comical. It's maddening. I just threw it out there because I was wondering if anybody had sort of here's what it is. Rarely is that the case. I know that usually it's a confluence of events, but it's really frustrating. Very frustrating.
And then there's the Duke game last year. 3 turnovers on 3 consecutive plays.
That's not coaching, but that might be recruiting. So,
well, but also dropping him back again after. Let's hand the ball off to start this next drive. Brock, you gonna throw it here?
I was trying to steer clear of even more criticism. I was just seeing if we could. It does eventually come back to that sort of thing. Jeff Garrett, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
A holiday meal is more than food. It's family gathered close, the joy of laughter, and the comfort of knowing you belong. But for too many of our neighbors, that tradition feels out of reach. ABC 27 Gives Back needs your help feeding our neighbors. The annual turkey drive benefiting Second Harvest kicks off November 17th with frozen turkey drop-offs November 20th. Your generosity ensures families across the Big Bend can share a Thanksgiving meal together. Go to WTXL.tv to help families in need.
Welcome to Fen Chiropractic. What in the world happened to you?
Well, it was Thanksgiving, and it started out normal. We had deep-fried turkey, lukewarm beer, and a political debate that escalated into a deviled egg fight. Then Cousin Darryl said the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl. And boom, there's folding chairs flying. Somebody tried to suplex Uncle Roy right through the buffet table.
Oh, my Lord.
Then Grandma pulled out her old wrestling belt and said, let's settle this in the yard. That's when Hank stepped in. Hanky Panky, my emotional support alligator. He tail whipped the potato salad in the neighbor's yard and stared down my brother-in-law to stop the yelling, and then he calmly slid into the hot tub like nothing happened.
So, how did you get hurt?
I got hurt when I tried to high-five Hank. I slipped on a gravy boat and I landed on the lawn gnome.
Family drama, holiday injuries, or gator-related back pain? Get adjusted at Fen Chiropractic. Visit fenchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com.
Just like family, your chiropractor loves you and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show, Redemption Thursday rolls on. No, we couldn't solve the road woes. Hopefully they do tomorrow. Yeah. I knew eventually, I just checked in here, that people would say, well, Jeff, there is one constant. Oh, man. You think they make the announcement if they win tomorrow?
I hope they make an announcement on Saturday, no matter what. Because we have gotten to this place. I know you guys talked about it a lot on Headlines. I watched the video segment from Headlines that director Nick pulled out.
Of us arguing about Mike?
Yeah, but it's just as this week, as the days go on, I think everybody agrees that some sort of action here would really help the next year's program, the next year's team. Because if it is Mike, then you got to get on it now, because now we're seeing interviews being conducted by other schools in the Southeast. Like, you still would have a multi-day window if you brought him back to get in kids' ears and to try and pry them away from their commitments to Florida or Arkansas or Auburn or LSU, or to retain your kids and message to them that, hey, I'm here. The guy you committed to is not leaving, buddy. It would be important to do. Like, just make a change, get behind him, do nothing. That's the ranking. Make a change, get behind him, and keep doing the same thing.
Not sitting idly by. You're in favor of jettisoning that approach.
Please. Yeah. For 2026. I mean, we all know which side we're on, but
yeah. No, I'm with you. I've said it many, many times, obviously. We both agree on this. I think many people do, but it doesn't matter. Like, you remove that part of it and say, hey, I don't really care if you agree with me or disagree with me on this. We both agree that if you're sticking with him, once again, I wouldn't. But if you are, then yeah, you maybe want to make that abundantly clear to everybody out there who's even contemplating coming to Florida State that, hey, I dare say there are a number of recruits that are meeting with Mike. We just got done watching, the 4-star JUCO defensive end commit to Florida State. And, we had pictures of him and Mike over there by the Moore Athletic Center, and Mike had his arm around him and was very excited. I imagine there's some sort of relationship there that's been built, and he's representative of a lot of kids. And so you would want those individuals to know that, hey, he's coming back. And we can roll our eyes, but you're right. That's the right thing to do in terms of recruiting and, moving on to the next season.
Well, that's the difficult thing about where we are right now is I see there's a lot of reaction that says, all right, can we stop it with the mic thing? Well, I don't know. Do you want to talk about our linebackers against their tight ends? Like, what is the most important thing? Is it the game? Because unfortunately, the position that we're in is just like the Virginia Tech game. The way it played out, scores of people I've talked to since the game was over, including interactions in the postgame show, people just watched the game. It came and it went. It wasn't this crescendo that we all enjoy.
No, I've been talking about that for weeks. I've been talking about that for weeks. I hate being in a position. Now, it's not about me, but I think fans, generally hate being in a position to where they feel listless or no certain way about a win because they think long-term the answer's not here right now and that you're not on your way back to where you think the standard is and where we should be and where we ought to be living most days. And that's frustrating. At the same time, I mean, I've said over and over again, anytime we suit up to play a football game and take the field, I'm rooting for us to win. I don't want us to lose games. I sit down with the hope that we're going to win games. I cheer when they score. Hands are up. All right, there we go. Might clap for a player or a play or the coach makes a good call, something like that. Yeah, I'm in on that front. But yeah, to what end? Like the game ends and you're not sitting there thinking, well, maybe this will parlay into this. And then the next thing you know, we're 11-1 because you don't believe that. Not if you're in our camp currently.
Well, oddly enough, just a personal experience, I was more invested and the highs were higher for the Clemson game than they were this past weekend. Like when I saw us rally to the football defensively when we were playing field position with them, and you saw that they knew what was coming, they were prepared for it, they were on it. To some degree, they were so on it, they missed a couple of interceptions. One of the first throws of the game is a miss, a big miss by Klubnik, and it hits the corner in the chest if he's looking for it. But instead, he anticipates what the route is going to be. You could tell there was preparation. They're dialed up. They're ready. They're locked in. And I applauded that. That fired me up. So did some of the play calls that were obviously dropped because that means they spent time. They worked very hard. They prepared meticulously in practice. They just didn't pay it off. But those highs for Clemson, even though we lost, I was more proud in those moments. The Virginia Tech game, I'm glad we won, but there was no moment outside of the zero blitz on the 3rd and 5 where I was at that level against Virginia Tech.
Post, what game was it? Pitt. Sorry, post Pitt. Defense played decently.
Yeah,
it's had its moments. I mean, you lose 20-13 to Stanford. You lose. You only give up 7 points to Wake Forest. You only give up. Even the 24 to Clemson isn't really representative of the way the defense played in that game.
No, their backs were broken by the 4th down drop on their own 39.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up a touchdown the next play, but they were doing the right. If we punted there in that situation, you would have understood why.
Yeah.
Versus the Pitt game.
Yeah, a little crestfallen, and then you only give up what we give up to Virginia Tech, 14. So yeah. So they've played pretty well defensively. They've been pretty locked in. They lack some things personnel-wise that they're not going to overcome. I do worry, though, against good passing offenses. Any of them have looked pretty good against us.
Yeah, the Pitt game is a total disaster. The Stanford game, not so much. Did you have to throw the ball right over Lester's shoulder and when he's in phase? That one hurts. The biggest limiting thing to me about the defense since Pitt is
opening drives.
Well, it's the Wake explosives that were called back, but I don't know how invested we were in that moment. And that helped us. It was almost like the bell, even though it was at the beginning of the game, it's the bell saves you in a boxing match.
Yeah, he lived to fight another round.
And then we got our feet underneath us and we played. But since Pitt, that's about it where I've gone, oh, God, was those two explosives for Wake that were called back.
When we came in on that Monday after beating Wake 42-7, I said, man, that's a weird score and a weird game because it didn't look that way for about a quarter and a half. And then all of a sudden it did. Eventually Wake was broken. I don't know if it was the bad snap fumble recovery. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't even that bad a snap. He just
they even did 3rd and 4th down scared stuff at the 50-yard line of plus territory.
Ran it up the gut. Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Are you even here tonight, Coach?
Yeah, that was a strange. And they subsequently went on to win their next 2 games. I mean, Wake has been a weird team, or at least they won the next one. But yeah, it's they've gotten a little better there. People at the time that we went into the Stanford game, people were pretty pissed at Tony White. I've had my criticisms of Gus. Others have as well. But they've been, it hasn't been a demonstrative beating the table. It's just what it is. They've been okay. Tommy, is kind of limited in as a passer, and that's going to limit your offense. But But Tony kind of got it together, got this group to play a little bit better.
If it wasn't for two things, the Pitt performance and the way he handled the UCLA thing, I'd be backing Tony with my full chest right now. But it's the Pitt performance did happen, and they did look tentative, and Tony looked like he was lost, even some of the comments around that. And then the UCLA thing was strange.
The comments around it didn't make any sense. Nothing about that performance made a lot of sense. That was a very strange deal. There are aspects of this that, for example, if the season were over after this game tomorrow, it's not. We still have the big rivalry game at the end of the year against Florida, and I don't care what the records are. Everybody cares about that game. Not as much as they normally would if the two teams were good and playing for something, but they care. It always matters when we play Florida in football, just like it always matters when we play Miami in football, and we're always going to be emotionally invested in those games. And so it's hard to kind of get a clearer picture of this. But if the season ended tomorrow and Mike was not fired, he's coming back, and you didn't know of anything different about the staff or changes or anything like that, I wonder, would our talking point be that would we want both coordinators back?
That's a really tough question.
Generally speaking, when you bring in, now this is the argument for bringing Mike back, by the way. And I've heard this, and I know my dad and I had this conversation a few weeks ago. It may not be as pertinent now, but we did have the conversation, which means I think they should have done something a little bit different in terms of the framing of this season before it even began, although I admit it would have been delicate to do on the heels of 2-10. But when you bring in a new offensive coordinator and a new offensive system, and you bring in a new defensive coordinator and a new defensive system, generally speaking, when that sort of thing happens, you're going to give them more than a year because you want them to get their players to run said systems. You want those guys to be able to recruit the kinds of players that fit what they're trying to run. I don't know that you're afforded that luxury on the heels of 2-10, and it's also not the same when you're keeping a beleaguered head coach.
Well, this is something we talked about at the moment that the coordinators were fired. And there were rumors about Gus at the time. I don't think we knew about Gus at the time of the firing because, in fact, no, we did not, because it happened the weekend of Notre Dame. It was the day after the Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
You're walking around the museums in Chicago. You joined the live stream.
That's right.
Remember
I did.
that?
Yep, that's right. After watching 52-3.
Yeah. And our talking point at that moment was, well, it feels like they've committed to Mike for 2 years. You wouldn't fire coordinators.
I said that on the air that day. Yeah, they've just committed themselves to Mike.
It was with the understanding that this year would achieve a bare minimum, and right now you're neck and neck with that bare minimum. How you got to 5-5 is really strange because you started 3-0 with a win over Alabama, but now you're at that bare minimum, and it's like I don't know if all marathons do this, but I know in the Disney marathons they've got cast members that are basically the line of death. If you ever get behind that cast member, you have to stop running. You're not allowed to finish the race. And so there's this person who paces it off. And that's where Mike is right now.
You're behind Dumbo.
Right.
You've got to go.
That's right. So that's where Mike is right now.
Come on, Mike. That's Pinocchio.
We just
run.
And you are the administration right now. Just finish the race. We're not looking for a time. Finish the race.
Get out ahead of Goofy. Can you get out ahead of Goofy, please? Yeah.
And so his fate, would you replace him and keep one of the coordinators? I don't think you can, right?
No, neither has done enough for you to do that and have people feel real confident or be excited. Then again, I've said before, there were only two big names in the coaching search right now that people would be excited about, I think. That doesn't mean there aren't coaches that some people would be excited about. I'm just talking about collectively where you would hear a hooray, and that was Lane Kiffin and to some extent James Franklin.
I would also imagine that part of the plan of bringing in these two coordinators, an up-and-coming candidate in the coaching community and a sage who has been a head coach at multiple power institutions and multiple places beyond power institutions. I'm sure Alford and the board thought in the back of their mind, well, as long as one of these guys succeeds, if something comes up with Mike, we can always just elevate them because they're on the brink or they already have their bona fides. But neither coordinator has taken the bull by the horns enough, at least in my estimation. I don't know about yours.
No.
I know you wouldn't naturalize Gus anyway, but for Tony, it's the Pitt performance and it's the UCLA
Some of the
thing.
reactions
I don't know if that he's ready for this. So that's hard.
Which ran kind of opposite of what we thought going into the year. His answers were thoughtful. They were direct. They were honest. They were insightful and interesting. He was, when I talked to the people at Nebraska who covered him, you talked to the personnel there. We reached out to them when the rumor was out that Tony would be coming over, leaving Matt Rule's staff and coming to Florida State. I talked to Sean, who runs the equivalent of the On3 site there at Nebraska Husker Online. Yeah. And he said that most people say about Tony, and they do there as well, that he's a great leader of men. And we got that sense early on. That's why it was kind of weird behavior.
And they haven't given up on him. I mean, the defense is they're still locked in. I think in some ways where he is now is where we expected him to be before the season, but Alabama threw expectations for a loop.
Yeah.
We thought you're undermanned, but it's going to improve as the season goes along. It kind of did, except for a couple landmines, but they are improving. Like, you're right.
Yeah, they've gotten better.
It hasn't been astronomical improvement, but it's been noticeable.
Yeah, no, I think there's an appreciable difference. I think they've been a little bit more buttoned up. Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
No one was hurt after a home caught fire. At 850-670-8500. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High of 84 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, winds out of the south around 5 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 56 with fog and spots tonight, mainly clear skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds with fog at times early tomorrow. Highs level off around 82. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 83 degrees.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But
and you still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, I want to mention here very quickly, I thought it was pretty well done by Kenny Dillingham day before yesterday, I think it was, when he began to talk about the revenue sharing era of college athletics and NIL. And he said that the school there at Arizona State needed to take one last step to achieve what they could by maximizing their potential. I don't know if you've seen this video. It is in this week's Coach Speak as well, but he talks a little bit about there's an opportunity for real NIL here where our players are being branded. Your company is seeing that. You see the support. The community wants to go support you because you're supporting the athlete. We can do that at such a high scale. Every restaurant, if you don't have a food item named after an Arizona State Sun Devil, why not? I don't get it. $500 a month, $1,000 a month, it's a business expense because it's a marketing expense. If you're a local company and you want to engage community, or if you're a new business and you want to get people involved, what better way to get your brand out there to the city than utilizing our players? Everybody thinks this is like a race. I can't give I can't get with a $700,000 deal. No, we have a city behind us. If every restaurant in our city gave a kid $500 or $1,000 a month to advertise for them, I feel like we'd be in a good spot. And I know we're not going to get all of them, but what if we got 25% of them? And I think that's the last piece to this thing. And it goes on to assess how the community gets behind the local team. The team then gets behind these other members of the community. It's all obviously intertwined, and everybody wins. And he was doing this at a media availability in the way that Kenny does. You know what made me think of? And I know this is going to sound cheesy, but I think it is 100% true because I've had these conversations. Our friends at Tried and True Consulting. I talked to Don. I talked to Joe. I talked to Rusty. When they came on board with us, they were like, well, we want to give back to the Battles Inn. That's in the ad. I've talked about that before, about how they give 20% of their net revenue to the Battles Inn. But he was saying, like, look, man, this is a long-term play. When we're coming on board with you, we know you've got a voice to the community. We believe in getting involved with these businesses because we can help them save money and we'll protect them and all these things. I mean, obviously they're a payments processing company. But he's like, but we want to work together with them and build over time and get them to trust. And we work with them, and then we'll work with the university, or in this case, the Battles Inn, and everybody's going to win, and we all rise together. I thought, yeah, that's perfect, because he's talked about wanting to do that. That's all he's describing there. I think it's kind of smart on his part.
Oh, it is smart. I think it's 3D chess smart too, because Kenny is not dumb.
No.
I think it also is putting public pressure on and saying that you don't have enough NIL capital.
Right, and you're able to couch it in that way.
As I'm being courted by other universities for major jobs in the southeastern part of the country. I want to stay here. Here's what we need to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what he was doing.
Right.
But it does work for him because,
Yes.
and this is why it's smart.
It's top level. Yeah.
You can't take issue with anything he's saying,
Right.
but you know it's not. I don't want to say it's disingenuous because I think he probably does feel that way truly, but he's also incentivized and motivated for outside reasons.
Yeah, it's leverage, but it's also, yes, it's top line true, and it also is subtext true from where he's standing and the leverage he's trying to create. Yeah, that is because he will speak in subtext. We know that from his pressers. He's loud and quotable, and for little blips and clips, he's great for that. Kenny will give in a press conference, and he's he's very good, media friendly in that way, but he also will condescend or he'll subtext a lot.
I don't mind that though. I don't mind that as long as you know it going in, and also he's giving you the benefit of the doubt from an intelligence standpoint.
Yeah,
he's in some things for some people, but others you're like, okay, well done. I see you, buddy. I got you.
Well, again with these job openings, it's the right time for him. You probably can't play the card ever better than you could play it right here, right now if you're Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State.
Well, and he brought up the fact in terms of Tempe that, look, it's a top sports draw in the town. There's no pro team there per se in Tempe, right? And he said, look, local businesses benefit from partnerships with our athletes as well. And he kind of laid that out. In fact, this is the rest of that quote. I'm never satisfied. This is to your point, Tom. I think the line I'm never satisfied is to his bosses and to the biggest boosters. I want to keep pushing. But I do want to say the university, they've been very, very supportive.
Absolutely.
The fan base has been unbelievably supportive. Now, it's okay. We can do more. How can we work it together to where the local businesses, successful people in the Valley want to see us succeed as well, because our success leads to more success to their businesses. It's all it is. We're a revenue generator for this city. So if you're a local business guy and you have nothing to do with Arizona State, well, our success can help your business, and our success helps this city that you live in.
And the other thing he did on top of all of that, which is JCS PR firm Gold, we would teach this. We would teach what he just did there. He suggests that $500 is enough per month to give an athlete. You know that $500 is under the threshold. 600 is.
Doesn't have to be reviewed.
That's right. 500 bones.
Just an arbitrary number, though, Tom.
Yes, and I'm well aware that in this sport right now, that agents are fine with $599 contracts.
Of course they are.
That are renewable, but they're going to be separate deals. So that each individual deal, I might have 12 contracts for $599 with a local place.
You might.
None of them report any of them.
None of them reviewed or reported. That's right. I like, too, at the end, he's trying to get his guys cars as well. I think we've taken steps, really activating the Valley, getting people involved. I think that's the final piece of the puzzle. It's really every business, guys, not just restaurants, I'll tell you. It's car companies, too. It's really anything. That last line is so good. Car companies, too.
You know, I've heard this wild thing they're doing, which is renewable lease options at a month at a time, month-to-month leases. You have great options out there for $590 a month, no money down.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You can get great cars for that. I've heard luxury cars even.
For certain players. I've heard about luxury cars.
That's right.
You know, makes them love the Valley and your business even more.
Who doesn't want a 19-year-old backup right guard who was a 5-star prospect, not good enough yet, to walk around your showroom? Ashley Schaefer would.
Oh, I mean, he absolutely would. Kia is a superior automobile. Yeah, all-time good. That was funny. I wonder, Kenny wants to stay there. It's his alma mater, right?
It is, yes.
That hat, the black hat with the kick-ass pitchfork is where it's at. I would own no other hat if I were an Arizona State fan. I'd have 7 of those. They're gorgeous.
Has he been on Coach Speak a lot this year?
I think twice.
Okay. Because
this is the latest.
He could be nuts now. Remember that sideline tantrum he threw last year with the officials and time remaining on the clock?
Oh, the last second play. Yeah, he was on the field screaming.
He looked like a puppet. Like he did not look real. The facial expression he had, he looked strange, like a cartoon character as he was throwing a fit.
You know, it's interesting. We'll see long-term how Kenny does. I do think he has the work ethic and desire. Obviously, he cares deeply about the institution, so that goes a long way as well. You give maybe just a little bit more when it's of you, but he's a good coach. He was always knowledgeable. Kenny made it abundantly clear in his time here through his actions and words that he wanted to be a head coach, and he wanted to bypass the many steps that it sometimes takes to get there. When he had an opportunity to be the primary play caller and get out from under Mike's umbrella. Mike did a good job hiring him, bringing him up. Mike has always, one of the many things I like about Mike, quite frankly, is he has always promoted his assistants. He's talked a lot about how he likes his assistants to be wanted by other programs because it means they're doing a great job. He knows that he benefited from somebody's trust early on in his career to take a big leap forward. And so he promotes that, which is good. So it wasn't like nefarious, but it was obvious that when Kenny could get out from under Mike, because Kenny was not given the opportunity to call plays. He was an OC, but not the play caller. Mike was calling those plays.
Kenny didn't call plays?
Well,
I thought he did.
Well, Mike was – that was Mike.
Mike might have given him the sheet with which he could sequence?
That's exactly how that went, yeah. But when he got to Oregon for that singular year, he was given that chance to be the play caller. And he knew, because they had talent, that he would – because he's competent and he believes in himself, he knew they'd put up good numbers. They did, and he got a head coaching job. It worked out. The path – and it really worked out for him because he ended up going to where he wanted to go. Ultimately, I don't think he's going to leave. I think he is issuing the memo, but would you be interested in Kenny dealing him? Wouldn't that be odd?
No, I wouldn't, because of the Norvell tie. And it's not like an anti all things Norvell. It's just really you're gonna replace him with one of his sergeants, one of his lieutenants.
The only thing is, Kenny is, capable of thinking of on his own.
He's his own guy.
Yeah, he's his own dude. I don't think he would do everything that Mike did. Some things that Mike did worked.
But I'd also have concerns about him. I mean, we go right back to it. Does he have relationships in the Southeast that he knows how to recruit? Because he left to go to Pacific Northwest, and now he's in Arizona. He had Arizona roots. He spent a few minutes at Auburn, so I suppose he has a couple relationships there. But what quarterback did Kenny Dillingham help recruit here to Florida State? That was A.J.
Right.
Duffy was his guy. No,
Yeah,
thank you.
Didn't work out.
No.
None of them have.
I'm leery of early in their tenure head coaches like Key at Georgia. I want to see if he gets another quarterback and they continue to whoop ass. They might in the trenches, but if he gets another guy beyond Haynes King and they continue to succeed, totally different status, at least for me, than it is right now where you have that guy
Yeah, you're
carrying
suspicious
everything
when you
do.
have a stud at the most important position on the field that can carry the day. I got it. But I would say I'm more apt to believe that Brent Key, while not maybe able to sustain, a 11-1, 10-2 type year at Georgia Tech, as he's currently on pace for now, will still have them be a game year in and year out, because his overriding philosophy, once again, going back to what we talked about with the Kirby Smart thing in Georgia, is offensive line, defensive line, defensive line. It's about the trenches. It's about practicing tough. They have their own version of Bloody Tuesday. They do the same things about creating a mindset and a toughness at practice. If Mike's going to turn it around here, there's got to be elements of that. They've got to go to war in getting line of scrimmage. Overpay, whatever you got to do, you got to get that turned around.
So player acquisition and or development needs to be at a higher level than it's ever been.
Ever. Damn it, man.
The thing is, they have more money this year for him if he stayed than they did last year. They spent a ton of money last year to take this thing off of life support in terms of the recruiting class.
Well, right. They had to go from 50 whatever
they
to the
spent
top.
a lot of money.
I know they did. Well, that's what happens. You're stuck having to spend a lot of money when you're losing a bunch of games and you don't recruit the high school ranks all that well. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Hey, no fans. Our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT